Now, since esports is a global phenomenon, it's in all different time zones, and not everybody is awake at the same time. That's how time zones work. But with the power of technology, anything is possible, even pre-taping interviews. And this week, we've got someone who just left their cushy job at the top of the esports PR scene to continue to stay at the top of the esports scene by starting her own company with two other partners in the esports business. And this company, it's called the Story Mob, and it hails as one of the only full-service esports communication companies. Please welcome to the show, Story Mob co-founder, Kalie Moore. Kalie, thank you so much for being here from across the pond. First off, tell people who you are, what you do, and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for having me on. My name's Kalie Moore. As you already mentioned, I'm a co-founder of the Story Mob, which is the world's first communications consultancy dedicated solely to esports. There's a lot of gaming PR companies out there that dabble in esports, but we are solely focused on esports. Before co-founding the Story Mob, I was head of communications. Sorry, recovering from a cold. I was head of communications at Bitcraft Esports Ventures, the world's first venture capital fund solely dedicated to esports based in Berlin and LA. And I handled the comms and PR for the fund and also most of the 16 portfolio companies. Before that, I was in tech PR.
Okay, now I know you've been giving a ton of interviews lately, already fielding this question. We're going to ask it again. First, tell us about Story Mob, how it came about, and why you think the esports industry needs an agency just like this.
Yeah, so let me start off by saying I have two co-founders, Anna Razvandovic and Nicola Piggott. We came together to form the Story Mob because we saw a genuine gap in the market for brands, teams, and companies who wanted to effectively reach the esports audience and to really speak their language. We also saw a huge gap in the B2B market as well. I mean, brands and teams always want to reach their fans first, but just as esports is professionalizing, they also really need to reach brands that will eventually become sponsors or venture capital or private equity funds for additional investment. And with all of our experience, we have kind of feet in both corners, and we thought it would just be a perfect fit to bring all of our knowledge and experience together to create one agency.
Now, you mentioned experience, and there's a wealth of it between all of you guys. First of all, what is that experience of your other two co-founders and partners? And also, tell me about some of these first projects that you're tackling, one specifically with Team Liquid.
Yeah, so Anna was VP of Communications at ESL, so world's largest esports event organizer for the last 4 years. So she has vast experience on the brand side of things, as they have a lot of huge sponsorships, and also the event organizing side of things. Nicola was leading communications for esports at Riot, which we all know Riot Games, for the last 6 years. So we have that publisher, team, brand, and then of course my startup and venture capital background. So even though we officially announced in February, we've been in talks about this for well over 8 months before we started. And we reached out to some of the favorite people that we've worked with in the past. So our first client was Team Liquid. Nicola worked with them a lot from her Riot days. We're definitely fans of the team ourselves. So yeah, we first signed with them, and last week we had one of our most exciting projects to date. We did the ribbon cutting ceremony for the Alienware training facility where Liquid's teams now practice and work from in Santa Monica. So that was a big moment, a long time coming. And really it's great for the future of esports too, to be able to separate where the teams live from where the team works. So we just have that more professional work-life balance. We also work with Fnatic, and so we got to do their PR after their big win at IM Katowice last week. And then we have a lot of really great startups we're working with. For instance, today we did a funding announcement for Runtime, which is a performance nutrition company for esports. So yeah, they're the first in the world for that specific gamer market, really focusing on helping you grow, getting your right nutrition needs, not having that sugar crash. So yeah, lots of exciting things in the works currently and in the future.
Wow, exciting. Okay, so let's ask this question, because you know, your two other co-founders, you are all ladies, right? And it's hard to break into the industry, no matter if you're a man or a woman. But what advice can you give to those esports fans that really want to go into esports? Like, what's some of your advice there for those people looking?
So first of all, I don't think it's hard to get into esports if you really want to. I think the market is growing like crazy. With the more investments come the more jobs. But passion isn't going to get you a job, like only passion. You really have to show how you can add value. And there's lots of ways to do that before you even get hired. Like, let's say you want to be or on your way to being a data scientist. You could totally create a stats blog analyzing different games or different players and adding value to the community that way. If you want to get in on the comms or journalism side of things, it's really easy to write your own content and get guest posts at already existing blogs. That's actually how I got into PR in the first place, not in esports per se, but I had a tech blog about the Berlin startup scene, and it started to get featured in different publications. And that's how I made my first journalist connections and got really plugged into the scene there. So whatever you can do to channel your passion into value is going to help you enter the scene.
Nice. Okay, so here's one of our favorite questions, and I'm sure it's one you've been asked time and time again, which is, it's sometimes difficult to explain the passion, the excitement around esports or competitive gaming. What is your answer to those people who find out what you do and find out what scene you were in, and why people should get into it who might be skeptical? What do you say?
Well, I don't have anything to prove. I don't care if people get esports. The fact is, it's here to stay. I prefer to show people rather than tell them. I love to bring my friends to the big events, because when you are standing in front of like Spodek Stadium in Poland and you see 10,000 people in the freezing cold wrapped around that stadium waiting to get in, and the energy, that was my first event years ago too, by the way. It is like nothing else. For the skeptics out there, or perhaps for my parents out there, I simply state the numbers. Newzoo just released their latest report. Global esports revenue this year is over $900 million. In the next 3 years, it's going to be $1.65 billion. Just the numbers alone speak for themselves.
Yeah, numbers don't lie. Well, Kalie, thank you so much. You have given us a wealth of information and, quite frankly, some really powerful stuff. So where can people find you, your work? Have any special shout outs? Now is your time.
Yes. So you can find us at www.thestorymob.com. We are also on Twitter under that same name. And I just want to say a shout out to my two co-founders. Starting a business is hard, no matter if it's in esports. I cannot imagine doing it with two better people. I'm just so thrilled that we have done this together.
Awesome. Well, thank you once again, Kalie.
Thank you so much for having me.